So, good morning, everyone, to all people who are watching us and interested to learn more about hydrogen, especially in Africa. Today, we have a special guest who accepted without hesitation to be part of the uh, episode series from the Energy chapter, Dr. CHIGOZIE. Welcome. And
Thank you so
could you
much.
tell us, yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here as well during the weekend. And well, could you tell us first more about you?
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Dr. CHIGOZIE. I am an economist and a geographer, and the CEO of Integrated Africa Power, Managing Director of Africa Hydrogen Hub. Africa Hydrogen Hub is a special purpose vehicle within Integrated Africa Power. So yeah. So I my work it's usually in the area of energy, renewable energy, industrial decarbonization, financing, governance of these aspects, international connections and collaborations and relations within Africa, Europe, and the rest of the world. Thank you.
Thank you and welcome again. So today's episode is definitely again about hydrogen, and this also follows the episode with Dr. Fawzi about the insights and what's happening in Egypt. And today we are going more broader to talk about the African continent with Dr. Chikozi. So my first question before diving into the topic of hydrogen itself and the African hydrogen strategy, uh, what is the African Hydrogen Hub and which problem or section does it solve or address?
All right. So the Africa Hydrogen Hub is a working and networking hub of stakeholders and experts in the Africa hydrogen space. And I will just also touch on the gap. Of course, whenever there is an emerging technology in the area of energy transition or industrial decarbonization, um, it looks like uh, the Western world usually adopt it and become leaders in that, right? And then oftentimes African nations go ahead to become the resource center, where just resources are extracted and many people do not really catch up with the technologies, right? So um, to cover that gap, that's what we do in Africa Region Hub to ensure that African stakeholders are well equipped, to understand the intricacies of hydrogen and its impacts and potentials, also to understand the potentials of hydrogen within its own continent, Africa, and how that can be used in a way that is profitable for the nations themselves. So it's first of all, one thing is to understand this through knowledge sharing, research, and things like that. Then, but there is the level of also making sure that there is cross-level, cross-sectoral, and cross-national knowledge exchange and sharing within the platform. So within Africa Region Hub, you have people from different African nations within that same platform exchanging in terms of research. Sometimes we have workshops where people kind of ideation workshops where people kind of come up with really ideas, show what they are doing and what works in their country, and other countries could also see what they can learn from what is working in other countries. Stakeholders come together also to see where areas for collaboration exists. So we would have meetings, conferences, workshops, and also we make use of the online space, including social media, as a place to share knowledge and also for people to exchange on these issues.
Okay, have you faced challenges while implementing the hydrogen hub? Because not all African countries launch their or have also their strategy simultaneously. Like what kind of
Mm.
challenges you have faced during the implementation of the hub?
Yeah, of course, you are right that not every African country is not at the same place when it comes to hydrogen implementation or even development. So, of course, there are clear leaders, and it's okay to have models, right? It may not be for every single person in the same pace. There could be also some selected pace setters that could go ahead, and then other people follow. I mean, of course, we know the obvious pace setters like South Africa, Namibia, Egypt, Mauritania, and other ones that are emerging like Nigeria, like Algeria, and and so on and so forth. So, and Kenya, of course, because of its renewable energy resources. So there are a number of countries that are already seeing how far they can go. I mean, a country like South Africa, for instance, possessing a lot of materials, that could be potentially useful, for hydrogen production, hydrogen technology production. Of course, it's a natural, of course, natural national interest is in there, and of course, a number of pilot projects. Namibia the same way, also having enormous resources and attracting a lot of resources, a lot of investments, and so on and so forth. So in bringing, so first of all, is to see which countries could be paced and also countries that are pulling ahead. Another one is, of course, you're dealing with stakeholders coming from different sectors. Of course, these are energy sector, planning sector, finance sector, water sector, for instance, and environmental sectors, and so on and so forth. Of course, they come in the room with different lights, but that is also the joy of it, that people bring in different perspectives, that for the first time, people from different sectors that wouldn't normally talk much with each other start talking with each other and try to see if there are common grounds in which they could also try to understand themselves and come together in order to develop hydrogen. Because of course, hydrogen development do can have spillover effects across different sectors if well planned.
Hey, and who supported you during this implementation? Like partnerships, countries, institutions, maybe also the African Union?
So now we're fairly upcoming and new as well, but we're already enjoying a number of supports, in soft manners. I mean, of course, I already mentioned that African Regional Hub is an SPV of Integrated Africa Power. So there's quite a lot of support coming from Integrated Africa Power itself. But of course, we partner with a number of partners as well. And we're, of course, always seeking more and more partnerships. We do. Uh, hold webinar sessions from time to time where we kind of get experts to speak on these topics, to speak on pertinent topics, that makes a lot of sense for hydrogen development in Africa. So of course, we're always open to work with people who agree with this framework. I mean, of course, we're always happy to conduct workshops as well. We've also worked with a number of institutions as well to conduct workshops, a number of governments also to kind of like do stakeholder engagement and trainings for stakeholders within a particular countries or a particular ministry or within an international development framework, like as you mentioned, Africa Development Bank. These are really very good organizations that we're very, very happy to work with.
The only African organization and also in framework of international cooperation.
Yeah, generally international cooperation. I mean, those who are also particularly working towards Africa energy development or hydrogen development. Of course, we are very happy to work with anyone that wants to partner with us that aligns with the goal we want to also achieve.
Oh, interesting. And I remember like also as part of the Hydrogen Hub letter. So what kind of tools do the African Hydrogen Hub use to be close to experts and also benefit from their expertise, like the how is the bridge between you as a hub and the stakeholders. And do you have already some first results, studies, recommendation, think tanks to promote hydrogen in Africa?
Mhm. Yeah, so of course we do have some tools. One is what we call my Hydrogen Life series, right? I'm sure you know about that, where we try to highlight African stakeholders and practitioners in the hydrogen sector. Of course, it's an emerging sector. Not many people know who and who is there. And we first of all start to do that, just so that people can see which African stakeholders they could work with and for what. So we profile them, we profile what they have done in the past, what they do currently, so that they are visible. So that's one part so we have that series running, and of course, anyone who is a hydrogen expert that wants to participate in it can always reach out to us, and we can be able to verify if it's someone we can be able to portray, to get in there. And we want our African stakeholders to be visible. We want them to be, known, when it's necessary, so that, of course, that we can have more African stakeholders researching and solving Africa problems, right? So that's number one. Number two, it also lenses us because we do have a large stakeholder database. It's also, as we reach out to people, we're also adding them to our database where we also can provide them with information happening around Africa hydrogen race, Africa hydrogen development, so that they are aware of the opportunities that are there as well, and opportunities financing or co-development, and learning and knowledge sharing and things like that. Another tool we also use is our hydrogen dialogue series, which we find and pinpoint very strong experts in the Africa region space. For instance, in our first edition, we had Jerome Namaseb, which is the CEO of the Raspberry Region Village in Namibia. We had Jacqueline Pinto, we had Dr. Usiko, we had Basi Betan GIZ as well. So we pinpoint them, we discussed about Africa in the green hydrogen race, in the global hydrogen race. Of course, we have to understand that there are many countries in the world that are pursuing hydrogen, but how does Africa fit into it? It was really a very nice, well attended webinar, and everyone went home coming out, really important, learning a lot of lessons. Another webinar we had following to that is how do we turn wasted gas potentials into clean hydrogen? That's more towards blue. So we're not focusing just on green. We are really diverse as possible. And that was also a very, very good discussion because we know that countries like Algeria, Nigeria, who already have huge gas potentials, would want to have a place to start from. So we had that webinar. I mean,
Okay.
if you go to our website, you can download the videos, and we also produce reports out of these webinars. You could look through them. So these are and then again we do have workshops, and also we do have a lot of tools in our hands with which we advance our goals. Yeah.
Right. You have mentioned the stakeholders expert database. Do you have also the expert database? Like there's stakeholders database. What about the experts, like uh, hydrogen experts who want to contribute for the hub?
Yeah, we're able to gather the stakeholders and then sectionalize them, even in countries, experts, subject topics. We know, the people that we have. So, yeah, it's quite a very useful stakeholder base, just in case there are organizations who wants to partner with us and who wants to work with us in terms of reaching a broad number of stakeholders in a particular way. We could partner with those organizations, and workshops and things like that. And we do that because we want to make sure that that the hydrogen resources, be it in
Yeah.
knowledge or materials, are well shared, among all the stakeholders involved. And then, of course, creating that room for collaboration as well among different stakeholders, whether in different countries or within one country, but then different sectors or different levels. So we try to mix up the stakeholders that we work with so that we can achieve that thing. Yeah.